At the end of episode 201, Xia Yan was beaten to a pulp by the Northern Dragon King, nearly losing her life. Fortunately, at that critical moment, Xiao Yan arrived. After that, Xiao Yan and the Northern Dragon King clashed in a world-shaking battle. With their strengths evenly matched, neither side could gain the upper hand. At this point, sensing the real threat of death from Xiao Yan, the Northern Dragon King no longer dared to underestimate him in the slightest. He immediately raised his blood-red hand, frantically forming seals as he roared with a deafening shout, "Blood Dragon devours the heavens." Following his roar, the massive thousand-zhong blood formation surrounding them suddenly began to boil violently. Countless streams of sinister, venomous blood energy crazily gathered above the monster's head. In the blink of an eye, they condensed into a colossal blood dragon. Its savage and ferocious body covered the entire dragon island, releasing thunderous roars filled with killing intent. Below, muffled explosions rang out as many clan members burst into clouds of blood, turning into nourishment that surged toward the giant dragon in the sky. Witnessing the enormous blood dragon roaring in the heavens, the Northern Dragon King fell completely into madness and shouted, "The dragon transformation formation is the supreme art of my ancient dragon clan. And you worthless trash dare to destroy it? Dream on." With that, he glanced at Xiao Yan, then turned into a streak of sinister blood light and rushed straight into the dragon's gaping mouth. The moment he merged with the blood dragon, its body erupted with dazzling crimson light, shaking the heavens for thousands of miles. Each dragon scale gleamed brilliantly, moving as if it were a living creature. The blood dragon's massive, ferocious eyes locked onto Xiao Yan as it opened its mouth and spewed out a thousand-zhong-long beam of bloodlight, reeking of a foul stench, like a maddened ancient dragon seeking to devour all things. Seeing the destructive bloodbeam, Xia Yan and the others cried out in shock. The pressure of this attack was so overwhelming that it could severely injure even a 5-star Do Saint on the spot. After launching the attack, the Northern Dragon King shouted arrogantly, "Xiao Yan, since you seek death, I will grant your wish." His voice, filled with pride and madness, echoed throughout the battlefield. Facing this overwhelming assault, Xiao Yan slowly opened his eyes. His dark pupils had transformed into crystal-clear jade glass, within which 2 exquisite lotus flames rotated with mysterious brilliance. Looking down at his radiant hands, his heart surged with excitement. At this moment, he had become the purifying lotus demonic flame itself. This was the highest realm of perfect fusion with a heavenly flame, something only he had achieved across the entire Do Qi continent. Xiao Yan exhaled a scorching breath that distorted the air. Looking at the incoming bloodbeam, a cold smile curved on his lips. He made no move to defend himself. With a slight flutter of the fire wings on his back, before the horrified gaze of countless onlookers, Xiao Yan transformed into a blazing comet and charged straight into the bloodbeam. With a thunderous boom, an unbelievable scene unfolded. The terrifying bloodbeam, capable of injuring a 5-star Do Saint, upon touching Xiao Yan's glass-like figure, melted away like thin snow meeting lava, fading and evaporating in a bizarre manner. Wherever Xiao Yan's comet passed, the bloodlight disintegrated effortlessly, as if snapping dried twigs. In an instant, he pierced straight through the Northern Dragon King's full-powered attack, completely burning the thousand-zhong bloodbeam into nothingness. Seeing Xiao Yan's blazing figure rapidly enlarging in his vision, the Northern Dragon King roared desperately, "I will never be defeated." He knew this was a life-or-death battle. If he lost, there would be no turning back. The colossal blood dragon suddenly erupted with blinding crimson light. All the terrifying energy of the formation was rapidly drained and gathered into the dragon's mouth, finally condensing into a half-zhong-sized blood pearl. It swirled with dense blood light, exuding an overwhelming aura of stench and ultimate evil. As the blood pearl shot straight toward Xiao Yan, the giant blood dragon withered and collapsed entirely, its essence and power having been completely drained into this final strike. Dragon Soul Pearl. That beast. Even the remnants of our clansmen's souls were not spared. Outside the formation, the elders of the ancient dragon clan glared with bloodshot eyes in fury. The Northern Dragon King had not only refined flesh and blood, but had also forced the souls of his own kin into sacrifice as a weapon. Xia Yan's small body trembled violently, the killing intent in her eyes so dense it seemed almost tangible. The Northern Dragon King completely ignored everyone's rage. His 6 blood-red eyes stared maniacally at the blood pearl rushing toward Xiao Yan. A cruel smile spreading across his face as he roared, "Xiao Yan, die for me!" The blood pearl howled as it tore through space, slamming directly into Xiao Yan under the breathless gaze of tens of thousands. At that instant of impact, everyone's hearts seemed to stop. "No one can stop me," the Northern Dragon King laughed wildly, his savage voice echoing across the battlefield. But before his laughter could fade, it abruptly choked off, as if an invisible hand had seized his throat. Under his horrified and disbelieving gaze, Xiao Yan still stood firm in the void, his expression eerily calm. From his palm, waves of dense pink flames spread out endlessly, almost tangible. At the very center of that storm of fire was the terrifying dragon soul pearl. Struggling frantically, however, the vile blood energy and foul stench within it, upon contact with the purifying lotus demonic flame, were completely purified, rapidly eroding away. Seeing the blood bead, containing the violent energy of tens of thousands of clansmen, slowly rotating in Xiao Yan's palm, not only did it fail to explode, it was instead being corroded and refined. The Northern Dragon King immediately let out a panicked roar. "How is this possible? What kind of bizarre heavenly flame is this?" In response, Xiao Yan curled his lips into a faint smile and said, "Purifying demonic lotus flame, it purifies all things. Whether soul or resentment, everything can be cleansed." With those words, Xiao Yan slowly raised his pink, flame-wreathed hand. Then, a massive blaze surged forth like a volcanic eruption, tightly wrapping around the bead and madly purifying all the filthy, impure blood energy within. Seeing this, the Northern Dragon King exclaimed in fear, "Purifying demonic lotus flame? How could this brat possibly subdue such a flame?" As he spoke, his pupils suddenly shrank to pinpoints. Meanwhile, Xiao Yan paid no attention to his opponent's shock. The flames in his hand blazed fiercely. With a casual flick of his wrist, the petite figure of Xiao Yi appeared within a pink sphere of light, gently holding the blood bead. At this moment, all the sinister and toxic blood aura had been completely purified, leaving only pure energy and countless soul fluctuations. Xiao Yan could clearly feel the deep resentment and grievance of the remnant souls of the ancient dragon clansmen slaughtered by the Northern Dragon King. Xiao Yan's gaze turned icy as he looked at the Northern Dragon King. A faint, meaningful smile appeared on his lips before he suddenly flicked his finger and shouted, "The spirits within this demand that I repay this debt to you." As soon as he finished speaking, the head-sized bead wrapped in pink flames burst forth with heaven-defying speed, shooting back toward its original owner, the Northern Dragon King. Seeing his ultimate move turned against him, the Northern Dragon King's face instantly filled with terror. Without hesitation, he frantically retreated. He knew better than anyone how terrifying the energy within the dragon soul bead was. If it struck him, his life would be over. He retreated like a streak of blood-red light. But the pink bead was far faster, moving like lightning and tearing through space. The surface of the bead revealed faint faces of the fallen clansmen. One after another, their expressions were filled with rage and boundless hatred, glaring at the despicable traitor before them. In a flash, the bead closed in right behind the Northern Dragon King, then suddenly contracted and exploded into a world-destroying burst of light before everyone's eyes. With a thunderous boom, a terrifying energy storm erupted from the center, sweeping outward and forming an extremely violent gale that directly blew away half of the sinister blood mist covering Dragon Island. Seeing the horrifying storm shatter the blood formation, the ancient dragon clansmen outside stared at each other in disbelief. Did we win? Moments later, as they realized the Northern Dragon King's blood form had been devoured, joy lit up their eyes. The elders of East Dragon Island were overjoyed as they said, "Mr. Xiao Yan's strength is truly extraordinary. He even managed to purify the tyrannical blood energy within the dragon soul bead. It seems heaven has not abandoned our ancient dragon clan. Your Majesty the Dragon Emperor. This fortunate connection is truly a great blessing for our clan. Mr. Xiao Yan has saved us from multiple disasters. Such great kindness must be repaid. Mr. Xiao Yan is truly the great benefactor of our ancient dragon clan." Seeing Elder Zhu Li's expression, the great elder of East Dragon Island hesitated for a moment before nodding and saying softly, "I understand. Once the ancient dragon clan is fully unified, we will immediately form an alliance with the Heavenly Mansion Alliance." Hearing this, Zhu Li smiled in satisfaction. In truth, Yan had already proposed this alliance 2 years ago. While everyone was celebrating, the violent energy storm from the explosion gradually dissipated. Soon after, a battered figure slowly appeared before everyone. Seeing that he was still alive despite his miserable state, the crowd exclaimed in shock, "The Northern Dragon King is still alive?" Xiao Yan raised an eyebrow slightly and muttered, "The body of the ancient void dragon truly lives up to its reputation." At the same time, the Northern Dragon King coughed up mouthfuls of blood. Even in his wildest dreams, he had never imagined that one day he would be gravely injured by his own attack. At this point, he roared angrily, "Xiao Yan, remember this, I will repay today's humiliation 100-fold. As he spoke, his body suddenly shot backward, clearly intending to use the remaining blood mist to escape. Seeing this, Yan shouted urgently, "Don't let him escape." Unfortunately, just as the Northern Dragon King moved, Xiao Yan's fiery wings trembled violently, turning into a streak of pink light that chased after him at lightning speed. Seeing Xiao Yan relentlessly pursuing him, the Northern Dragon King's eyes flashed with madness as he shouted, "You want my life? Dream on." With a wave of his hand, 10 ancient dragon clansmen flew out and charged straight toward Xiao Yan. Seeing this despicable trick, Xiao Yan frowned slightly, his pursuit slowing for a moment. But just as he was about to stop and save them, 10 streams of 7-colored light shot forward like dragons. The 7-colored heaven-swallowing python roared, precisely wrapping around the 10 figures and throwing them out of the blood formation. With the obstacles cleared, Kai Lin's cold voice rang out in Xiao Yan's ears, "Capture him." Xiao Yan nodded, his fiery wings flapped violently, and his speed surged dramatically. In an instant, he appeared like a phantom above the Northern Dragon King's head. With a cold laugh, his translucent hand, wrapped in pink flames, struck down like lightning toward the opponent's skull. Seeing Xiao Yan show no mercy, the Northern Dragon King panicked. But a vicious plan formed in his heart. His hand seals changed, and his body began to swell in a strange manner, clearly intending to self-destruct and drag Xiao Yan down with him. Naturally, Xiao Yan was not foolish enough to perish together with a dying enemy. A massive soul projection quickly formed outside his body. The long-accumulated Wangchen heavenly fury erupted instantly, transforming into an invisible soul arrow that pierced deep into the Northern Dragon King's soul. With a boom, the excruciating pain made the Northern Dragon King scream miserably. His consciousness faltered, and his swelling body rapidly shrank. By the time he regained clarity, he suddenly felt a chill at the back of his neck. Xiao Yan's hand had already locked onto his skull. Terrified, the Northern Dragon King pleaded, "Don't kill me. You win, you've won. I can abandon the 3 Dragon Islands and hand everything over to you. From now on, I am no longer the Northern Dragon King." Xiao Yan chuckled, "You sure change your tune quickly. Spare my life. I will never appear before you again." Not a bad offer, but killing you would eliminate a future threat entirely. With that, Xiao Yan suddenly exerted force. A scorching flame carrying the overwhelming power of the purifying demonic lotus flame shot into the Northern Dragon King's head like lightning. And will this man survive? Stay tuned to the YouTube channel to find out what happens next in episode 203. Goodbye, and see you again.